Hey guys, what's going on? This is Ash Kumra with Young Green Money. I'm here with my friend Vipe Desai. This person is very successful in the advertising marketing arena. He's also helped found some amazing brands like HDX Hydration Mix. But we're going to talk about something that I think is going to shape the way entrepreneurship is going to go in certain sectors, if not all of them. And that is, what is the purpose? What is the purpose economy? What is the purpose behind your business? How do you have a for-purpose type of business overall? And Vipe is someone who has worked with many brands, both in the for-profit and non-profit, and also in the ocean conservation side of things. And I want to just have a conversation with him about this kind of mindset and other lessons he's learned in his very esteemed career in entrepreneurship, and something that we all can learn to help us scale our business and, of course, make that money. So how you doing, man?
Ash, good to see you.
Good to see you, man. So tell us a little about your background before we dive into your philosophy, please.
Yeah, I would say everything has been very accidental for me. Accidentally became a surfer, fell in love with it. It became my passion. Went to college down at Point Loma Nazarene University, and I went down there because the surf was good, and walked away with a degree, and ended up buying a surf shop.
Wow.
And right after I graduated, and the surf shop really became an extension of learning for me. And I had no business owning a business, but I was excited to be near surfboards and wetsuits and everything. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. And boy, I stumbled into it, and it was a great mistake, great learning opportunity for me, great personal and professional growth as well, and so much exciting stuff came from there. So the retail thing was there for a few years. I started doing marketing for the shop and trying to do different things. We created events. The events went on to do great things in the industry, and then started a marketing agency and started working with brands in and outside of the action sports world that were trying to connect with each other. And then started working with nonprofits, and then started, launching my own companies.
Okay, so I want to dive into the action sports for a second, because we're in Orange County right now, and I hear from many people that Orange County is one of the hubs for the action sports industry as a whole. Where do you feel the state of action sports is going right now?
Wow, that's a big question to unpackage, because action sports are still an exciting category in sport for young people all over the world. I think what's happened is the brands in the industry have grown a little outside of their comfort zone, and now there's a bit of what I call right sizing. Everybody is right sizing their business. What is the right size for their business to succeed and thrive and be profitable? Before, everybody was chasing growth and more growth and exponential growth, and also going into different categories as well. Just, instead of just sticking with apparel, they were going into wetsuits and eyewear and women's wear and everything. And I think that just added a little bit more fuel and uncertainty to brands. And oversupply and under demand, I would say, is where the action sports industry is right now. But there's a concerted effort amongst the large brands and the medium-sized brands to right-size themselves. The large brands are consolidating, shrinking, getting to that right fit of where they should be. The medium-sized brands are slowing down their growth, and I think the smaller brands are saying, you know what, we really don't need to be that big to be successful. And I think the small brands, which is smart, are starting to focus more on profit rather than growth.
Okay, well, first off, I love this term, right size a brand. Is there an example you could give? Because I think as an entrepreneur, whether you're one person, 5 person, 10 people, or you're now a business owner building something, it's about staying focused, staying on your mission, staying to your core, and not overextending yourself. Is that what right sizing is, kind of?
It is. It's a combination of things. Right size is what is your personnel size? How many product items do you sell? What is the right size of your product items? Do you need 50 board shorts, or do you need 40 board shorts?
Yeah.
And then also, how many retail stores do you need to be in? What distribution channel do you need? Are you okay with just being in specialty stores across the country, or do you have to be in department stores or large chains or outlets or something? So I think it's a combination of growth strategy, sales, operational, profit, everything that plays into it. And that's the difficulty for today's leaders, is finding what is the right size for their business and brand to thrive for the long term, not just the short term.
What's a brand, specifically in action sports, that you think is doing the right way of right-sizing themselves right now?
Yeah, look, I think it's no secret, but you look and see our friends over at Quicksilver.
Okay.
They've gotten beat up quite a bit.
Yeah.
They're leaders in the surf industry. They introduced so many firsts to this sports culture, and I think when they went public, they were forced to focus on growth at all costs. More stores, more sales, more profit, and I think at times they maybe there was a little bit of mission creep.
Yeah.
On where they should have been focused on, and I think in the 2008-2009 economy crash, that forced them to look at themselves as to what's going on. And obviously, I think about a year and a half, 2 years ago, everything kind of came to a head. They had to file bankruptcy, but that was a good thing. And now, from talking to my friends that are there and the leadership team, they've looked at it saying, you know what, we need to right-size this brand and get it to the point where we are profitable for the long term, but even then, maintaining and securing their leadership position in the board sports culture.
Okay. So you've said that you've taken this approach to being in the business world, now you're working with nonprofits and causes. Why did you make that shift? I mean, I'm curious.
I wish that shift was, how do I say it? It was like I wish the shift was directed properly. It's like that it was done like I had to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't. It was accidental.
Okay.
And thank God it was accidental. While I had my agency, I was approached from the folks at Surfrider Foundation to do some pro bono work. And I'll tell you, prior to that point in time, I had a very naive view of nonprofits, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but I think other people probably feel this way, so that's why I'm going to tell it, is that I think at times, it's like you look at it and say, why is this person or this organization coming to me to ask them for money, or a handout? And why are they doing this? Don't they know any better? And it took me a while to realize that these organizations are addressing some of society's most pressing issues. And they're taking on a fight and a challenge that the business community has neglected or it sometimes caused.
Yeah.
So it was really a shift when the folks at Surfrider approached me and they said, would you consider doing some pro bono work for us? And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I love what you guys do. I think I know what you do, and I love surfing and I love the ocean, so let's start talking. And that campaign and that relationship really set everything in motion for me. It was great working with the folks there. I got to see that they were fighting 24/7, 365 for our oceans and our coasts and our waves. And these were people that weren't on the upper end of the pay scale of corporate jobs. There was no bonuses, no stock options, nothing. These folks had given that up to do good work. And for me, it just made me shift my thinking that it's like, wow, here I am chasing growth and profit and personal success, and here these people are doing something for me so I can enjoy and reap the rewards of their work. So that was an eye-opener for me. And I think the second thing that happened was when they asked me to join their board of directors. It was the first board that I had joined, and I'll tell you, the personal growth and the professional growth that came from serving on a board of a nonprofit, you can't buy that at any school, no 4-year degree. So one tip I would say is if you're looking for some personal or professional growth, get on a nonprofit board and put your expertise to use.
Well, one thing I would say for anyone in business is the better you do for the environment, the better it actually helps your business, especially in causes or industries that are related to you. Like you're in action sports, let's say as an example. If you're helping a nonprofit that is serving an area that's going to help the action sports industry, like the ocean, you're going to make it better for people in the action sports industry and therefore your business, right?
Absolutely. Look, everything is connected. The thing about the ocean is that it is one of the most important economic engines that we have in this country.
Yeah.
Regardless of how close you live to the ocean or not, it is an economic engine, and it should be treated as such. That we should make sure that it is healthy, that it's not being polluted. You look at it and say, okay, you know, it's not just surfers that enjoy that. It's not just people that go to the beach that enjoy the recreation. It's fishermen, it's resources, it's tourism, it's food. All these things rely on a healthy ocean. And one of the things that I've come to look at is that a healthy planet needs healthy people, and a healthy planet needs a healthy ocean.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. So this philosophy, which we talked about in the beginning of the interview, of a for-purpose business, did this come from after being both in the business and nonprofit world? Or is this something you've thought of for a while?
Yeah, I think we can look at for several decades that I think that there's been brands that have been practicing this in some way, shape, or form.
Like,
I'd say like Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Patagonia.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm curious. Chick-fil-A, because that's such a I love their food, but it's also a very controversial brand where the founder has made it very clear that I appreciate everyone, but there's a certain sect of people that I don't necessarily have love for, and it's caused an uproar. I'm not saying it's good or bad. He's a founder, he says his piece, but why Chick-fil-A in your opinion?
Well, look, one thing, Chick-fil-A was the first job I had as a kid.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one thing, and I learned some important values that regardless of what you think of the founder's opinions, they are his opinions and his value. I can tell you from working there, when I was a kid, I learned a couple of great things. They care for their employees. Okay, and that was one of the most important things that I had learned. I was fortunate to experience that from the get-go. So they cared for their employees, but you look at another thing, their values of being closed on Sundays.
That's true, it's amazing.
That's amazing. In this day and age,
I know.
To hold on to that value, because you know how many millions of dollars are left on the table?
Especially people who leave right after church, they need to eat something.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. So for me, I remember when I was growing up and I was working at Chick-fil-A, I would kind of make fun of my friends who had to work at other fast food locations. They were working on Sunday, where I was like, hey, my friends over at Chick-fil-A gave me the day off, so I get to go surf and hang out. And so to me, I believe that they were they cared about core values and company culture before it became cool to care about company values. So regardless of their stance on gay rights and stuff like that, I still believe they're a great institution, a great group of people, and slowly bit by bit there'll be progress made there.
Right. And again, just so we're clear, I love the brand, and just expressing that. It was interesting you brought them up, so it's cool. Yeah. Patagonia, Chick-fil-A. So what do these companies embody as a for-purpose company besides what you just said? Anything else?
Yeah. Look, I think what's happening right now is that you're seeing nonprofits. Their business model is being challenged. If you look at it, they are selling this ambiguous issue, so to say, and that relies on faith.
Yes.
Okay, and faith is hard to keep funding unless you're the church. There's money in the church, but when you look at nonprofits, it's like when you look at keeping our oceans healthy, telling people, hey, give us $25 so we can work to keep our oceans healthy. That is a very hard thing for people to process who worked very hard to earn that money and to give it away without receiving something tangible in their hand to show that it's like, I worked hard for something and I now have been able to purchase something. So I think that is a challenge in the nonprofit world. They're doing great work, but it gets harder and harder to ask people to give money on a regular basis, especially with all the negativity that's going around. It's like, well, I gave you money. How come the oceans aren't getting any better?
Yeah.
It's constant. It is a full-time job to do that. It takes lots of organizations. Then on the other side, you have for-profit companies. And I think what's happening with for-profits is that they're starting to take on some of this philanthropic angle into more than just saying, hey, we donate a little bit of money to this organization. Now it's saying, hey, we reward our employees when they volunteer for organizations. So that DNA starts to get entrenched a little bit more, and it helps them to separate from their competitors a little bit more. We not only make a great product, but our employees love working for us because we care about our community issues. And when we make these products, we also make them in a way that is sustainable, that doesn't, involve human trafficking or violating human rights or anything. So really now, this for-purpose business model goes much deeper than just giving money away and donating to an organization or saying something nice about an organization. You build that into every activity in your brand 24/7.
I love it. Okay, so do you feel that this is a lacking in like a lot of these newer brands that are marketing to Gen Zs and millennials, or do you feel like it's a growing trend?
I think it's a growing trend. I think it's a growing trend because young people are interested in issues, and there's plenty of issues to go around.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of issues. So I think there's a lot of room for for-profit companies to take on issues that relate to their product. So if you're a, I would say look at a brand like Tom's Shoes.
Okay.
They're an example, and regardless, some people may have issue with Tom's models and everything like that, but you look at it and say, when you purchase product, you're helping to put shoes on somebody else.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
It's a win-win. It's a great win-win. Could a nonprofit do that? Could a nonprofit come to you and say, give us $40 and we'll give somebody a pair of shoes, but in 6 months we'll be back and we'll ask you for another $40 because we have to give another pair of shoes to somebody else. With Tom's, obviously the model is great. It's like you purchase it and one is given away. So the one-for-one model. But there's so many other groups doing stuff like this too.
You know what I like about what you're saying about this for purpose is that we talk about win-win. I love it when you make money and someone else also gets help in a way that's authentic. So what are the negative sides of for-purpose type of business? Because from what I see, it's a win-win. Business makes money, customer gets a great product, someone who could not get that product or a related product is getting something out of that purchase. So three constituents, if not more, are winning. Is there any cons to this model that you found, or any ways it needs to be improved?
I don't think there's always room for improvement in everything. I think when more people get involved, I think it's kind of like hacking, where everybody kind of just improves upon it, and hopefully everybody else is paying attention and they continue to improve upon the model. And I think that's where this for-purpose model idea comes from, is that I've seen other people use it, I've implemented it myself, and I continue to improve upon it, and as I improve upon it, I share what I've learned with other people. So I think it's a great opportunity to share. There really aren't any cons either than I would say it is a challenge to keep everything aligned. Instead of just saying, we make great product, we provide great service. Those are just two things.
Yeah.
But when you start to say, we also do good for our community, okay, that becomes an extra effort that isn't taught in school.
Yeah.
That has to be practiced on a daily basis. So it is harder to implement and practice on a daily basis, but once you do it and everybody else supports it and everybody holds themselves accountable in the company and the business and the product aligns with the mission and everything, it's seamless, it's second nature.
Okay. Well, what is an industry, I guess my last question on the for-purpose side is, what is an industry you think has not had any for-purpose like revitalization that you think is prime for it? Because you already mentioned retail, that's obvious. You've already mentioned food, which we use Chick-fil-A as an example. Is there any other industry that you think you're just like, man, if I had the time, or if I knew a company, or if I guided this guy or girl doing it, they would crush it?
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, because I think there are people in every sector that are instituting some sort of for-purpose business model. There's people in every sector that are doing it. I think the challenge is getting those businesses and individuals highlighted and recognized so more people can frequent their business. They're the ones who are going to be disruptive. I mean, where do you want to go? I think if there's one area that maybe could use it, is maybe banking.
Explain that. I'm curious.
Well, I think banking has a bad rap.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They take our money, Sometimes they abuse it.
Yes.
And I think it would be great if there was some sort of financial institution, bank, that had some sort of community involvement and instituted some sort of for-purpose business model. So I think there's banks that do good stuff. I think there's financial institutions that are doing stuff. But I think there's some opportunity there, especially a sector that gets beat up on quite a bit, rightfully so at times. But maybe somebody out there listening will want to take on the banking industry and disrupt it and democratize it.
Okay. Well, last part of this interview is I want to talk about your product side. I mentioned earlier I've actually used your product, HDX. It's great, and I have no affiliation when I say this, but it's a great product because I like to swim, and I had gotten some of this product when I was before swimming, and it just got me the nutrients that I needed. What was the genesis behind HDX?
The genesis behind HDX was there were several different inspirations behind it. First and foremost was a presentation that I had from a friend of mine that's Surfrider that taught me how much plastic was going into our landfills and our oceans. And I looked at my own footprint of purchasing bottled water and such. I was like, okay, I can't buy bottled water anymore. There's too much plastic going in the ocean. But also looking at the beverage industry side of things. When you look at sugary drinks, that's another thing that contributes to that. But everybody wants something with flavor, of course. The other thing is that, years ago, I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, so I had to change my diet and everything. So the genesis was really this interest in stemming the flow of plastic pollution in our ocean, but providing something healthy for people that may be pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic to manage their sugar as well, and providing them something healthy. So it was like, okay, well, what's out there? And that's where I set upon powder. It's lightweight, you just add it to your reusable bottle, and putting in healthy ingredients like electrolytes and vitamins to keep people hydrated, but not loading it up with sugar, minimizing the sugar, leaving the caffeine out and the junk. So it was really something that was, I say, good for you, good for the planet.
Okay. Well, anything else you're working on that we need to know about?
I'm really excited about this group that I'm working with right now, and it's called Rich Uncles.
Okay. Rich Uncles.
Rich Uncles. A couple of my good friends started it, and what I love about it is it does two things that I look for in brands. One is democratize and disrupt.
Okay.
And if I see brands that democratize and disrupt, I'm drawn into them. And this is one of those brands that does that. So they've created a commercial real estate investing platform for everybody. Doesn't matter what your wealth status is or not. If you're a college student, you can invest in commercial real estate. And I love the platform that's created. So when I say democratize, it's allowed everybody to participate in this wealth investment concept. And when it democratizes it, it does it for everybody, but it disrupts the traditional method of investing in commercial real estate, where you had to have a high net worth status, had to have 6 figures in order to invest. Now, anybody can invest for as little as $500, and people are seeing wealth shift to them. So
it's like a form of crowdfunding?
It's kind of like a crowdfunding, but it's crowd vesting, I would say.
Okay.
It's crowd investing. So when you put in money, you are going to reap the rewards of the investment yourself.
Wow.
And you can increase that investment, or you can reduce that investment, but still reap the benefits.
So is it a form of equity crowdfunding where you put in money, you're kind of an owner in something?
You're a shareholder.
Shareholder.
You're a shareholder in it, exactly. So they're REITs, they're real estate investment trusts. We have these single tenant properties. We purchase them, and you can purchase shares in them for as little as $500.
Love it.
We collect the rent, and that rent then gets distributed to all the shareholders. And it's all online. You can do everything from your phone. So that's one of the most exciting things that I've been working on for the last couple of years.
So richuncles.com.
Richuncles.com.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for this interview.
Ash, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.